If your important work feels like work, that means you have cope that feels like play. What do I mean with this? My name is Lucas. I am a meditator. I have this channel here to kind of transfer you my knowledge that I've found along the way. Things that work for me will also work for you. The goal is to have the work that you value be so rewarding so that you almost do them automatically. Most people, they have big goals, but they think that they need more energy to obtain these goals. But actually, what they need to do is they need to realign their reward system. Because right now, the things that they have to do or want to do have to compete with artificial stimulation. Their reward system is tuned to go for the things that feel rewarding or the most rewarding. It's simply how our brains work. Our brains are pretty old things. We used to, we come from caves, we come from hunters and gatherers. So that means that if you found something that was really sweet, it was probably really good for you. This was the case for thousands of years. And then in society, in modern society, this is not the way. When you eat a hamburger, it feels really good for the reward system, but it's actually really unhealthy for you. The same way with video games, for example, or social media. These mediums are optimized to hit your reward system in the most efficient way possible so that you will come back and be a good customer. So if you have things that you actually want to do, like reading books, writing a journal, doing things that you actually want to do that will take you forward, these organic actions now have to compete with very synthetic actions, right? So we want to realign our reward system. Let's say you have a goal, you want to achieve this goal, you have to do certain things. If this goal feels boring, or maybe what you have to do feels boring, that means that your reward system is, you have set it up that now these actions need to compete against synthetic rewards. You will find these things in your life, and you might be telling yourselves that, oh, I'm just doing this to relax. I'm just doing this for fun. But actually, it's not fun to have a fucked up reward system. Actually, it's most fun when your reward system is finely tuned with things that bring you progress. Most people think it is normal to kind of struggle to do one's work. This also brings me into caffeine. Caffeine, the ingredient in coffee, sodas, these things. Most people, they think that caffeine actually brings you energy. But actually, this is a little bit too simplified. Actually, what caffeine does is that caffeine shuts off the part of your brain that makes you tired. So it feels like you are in a wakeful state. You get energy. This is the first oversimplification. But actually, coffee and caffeine also hit your reward system or stimulates your reward system, meaning that something that wasn't feeling good, wasn't right appealing to your reward system, is now going to feel great, or now going to feel at least better. It makes the things that might seem boring less boring. So this means that, first of all, people have impaired reward systems. The actions that they actually want to do and that will bring them forward now have to compete with cope, like Netflix, video games, YouTube, scrolling, all these things. Your brain doesn't know what's good for you and what's not good for you. It just knows what hits my reward system. So this is the first thing that people do. And then when they don't have energy to do the things that they want to do, this is also false, because actually what they lack is motivation. Why do they lack motivation? They lack motivation because their motivation, their reward system, is actually focused on the things that hit it the most, which in today's age is synthetic rewards. Most people don't have an energy problem. They have a reward system problem. So what do we do? Well, we have to kind of stop lying to ourselves, because the things that we do for fun actually turns our lives not very fun. We should consider it fun to be aligned, to have our reward system aligned with our long-term goals. That is fun. So this follows a pattern that I've stumbled upon earlier, where the easy way becomes the hard way, and the hard way becomes the easy way. So actually going against the stream, against these products that are hitting our reward system in all these crazy ways. This is actually the normal thing in today's world. We have to take care of our reward system. We only have one, and this is our engine that takes us forward. We don't want this system to compete with things that don't really matter to us. It's funny, actually. A lot of people, they're talking about these cobalt mines. You have kids in Africa that are actually working in many of these cobalt mines. And we think this is disgraceful, right? Child labor. How dare we buy these batteries? But actually, if you look in the Western world, you see all these kids scrolling 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, 10 hours a day. This is actually, why are they scrolling? They are scrolling because there's a bunch of engineers that are working in these companies, and their only goal is to, or their biggest goal is to optimize these products so that the engagement will be as high as possible. They want these kids to spend as much time as possible looking at this content so that they scroll through a bunch of ads, like advertisements, because that is how they make money. You actually have a lot of kids today that are actually in some form of child labor, scrolling away their attention because these corporations make money from this. Usually, when you have these synthetic rewards, there's actually somebody that is making money from you having an impaired reward system. It is not empowering to have. This is not what we do for fun. This is what people do for cope. So, the original quote here: if your important work feels like work, that means you have cope that feels like play. So take a moment, look at your life. Also, the illusion that you just need more energy, right? That is actually false. Of course, you want to do things like sleep well, eat well, consume decent information. That will bring you more energy. But actually, it's also worth looking at your reward system. What has hijacked it? How can you go against the grain to limit these synthetic rewards so that whatever you actually want to do will become easier?